Good day, podcast community. PeteKane here, podcast Pete and certified high performance coach. And man, we have a special guest. We've been going around to try to get her on the show. We finally succeeded. So, Deborah, would you introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and who you serve? Then we'll get into our podcast.
Thanks for having me, Pete. I'm super excited here. I am Deborah Morton with the agency Atlanta. Formerly was the founder of Clario Real Estate, which was a boutique real estate brokerage here in the metropolitan area. And we recently expanded with a partnership with the agency, which is an international boutique real estate firm, originally based in Beverly Hills and now is worldwide. Super excited about that move. But I'm also the host of WSB Talk Radio 95.5 Saturday program Inside Georgia Real Estate. So I talk about Georgia real estate every week on WSB radio, and it's a call-in show. So these types of on-the-fly loose conversations are normal to me, and I actually love it.
Oh, that is so good. We chat about people, just in conversation. I say, you never want to be the best kept secret in business. That's not a good strategy. So you got to get out there. And that's really good that you're doing that show and helping people answer their questions because, real estate is changing so rapidly. There's a lot of questions. So what do you see like as a profession, like going forward with all the different things that are going on with AI? There's just a lot of change. What could you share with our viewers is from your eyes, are you seeing in the market right now?
So real estate, like every other industry, is under attack. There is a phenomenal amount of change being brought because of AI and technology. That's every industry is experiencing that right now. But what I have found remains to be true, that relationships and service never go out of style. And no matter how technology changes and enhances and sometimes causes problems for us with our work, at the end of the day, it's the relationship between client and consumer, homeowner and agent, or however you want to frame that relationship. When you're in a service-based business and you're highly skilled and you're bringing value to people's lives, I deal in homes. This is about families and where you have Christmas and holidays and birthdays and kids have learned to ride their bike. It's so much bigger than just bedrooms and bathrooms, houses, and market statistics. So when I roll back and remind people that that's really the business that we're in, then it makes perfect sense why we have such good relationships in our communities that we work. Technology will never take that away. How you find me is enhanced by technology, but it doesn't change the relationship we have with our clients.
Yeah, I want to share with our viewers because I met you through North Cobb Rotary, and we had, a little journey, getting connected to North Cobb Rotary. I had a person I met about a month ago, and he gave me his business card. And I used to be in digital marketing. So, I always liked that business, but I'm so glad I got out of it because probably gave me a stroke.
It's the change fast.
And what I wanted to share with our viewers is I followed up with him, but I hung up on him because it was going through this technology maze of asking me questions. And it was giving me a headache because I just wanted to talk to a person. And what happened was I just hung up on him. I said, I left him a message. I said, if this is the way you greet people that call you, I think you're in trouble because
the chatbots have taken over. Yes, when you go to the site and you have to get a question, and then you have a question tree. I've gone to conferences. I know how to build that question tree to funnel down to a qualified lead. I work with people. I don't qualified leads, that's a sales technique that all this technology there is a point with, as advanced as technology comes, people crave more one-on-one, like eye to eye, face to face. Let's have a real conversation, which is what I love about you, Pete.
Yeah, and it was funny when Mara invited me to the Rotary, and I walked into Copeland's, and I thought I was in like a rock concert. It was so much energy there. It was, and 7 o'clock in the morning. It's going like, this is crazy, and it was contagious, and it was fun to be there. However, I had kind of a preconceived idea from years past. But one thing you did, which I wanted to share with our viewers because it relates to the connection, you called me the night before the Rotary. If you had texted me, I would have said thank you, but no thank you, because of just some bias that I had in my own mind. But you're busy, and we talked about it, that you have 3 coaches. So when you look at Deborah's production, you'll drop your jaw, because I did. When she told me that, I went on, I searched it, and I saw the, like, holy mackerel, no wonder she's crushing it, because I could see that in real estate, there's so many people in real estate, very few people, rise above. So my question is, what point, how did you accomplish that journey to where, one, you're investing in yourself? I mean, there's not anybody I've ever met that has 3 coaches. I just have never met anybody. Yeah, 2 is the max that I have met. Now I know you have them.
Well, no, it's probably because if you ask deeper, it's big for every facet of life. So with work, you have your work coach, you have your productivity coach for work. And in real estate, it's super normal to have a real estate business coach because it's a unique business. So in addition to just normal business growth and development, you have highly specific real estate contracts, transactions, those types of things. But for me, the third coach is like more of a health and wellness. Busy executives, busy people. I mean, I eat. How many meetings do we have that are at restaurants? And so the food, the health, the exercise, all the things that will build a long-term happy and successful life, it's building blocks along the way. So just like business, health and wellness, I treat the same way. And it's just put on the schedule, this is what you do. And my coach gave me a plan and I just followed it. Like, that's the point of having a coach, is that I describe the outcome that I want. And in 20 years, I want to be living my best life yet. Vibrant and healthy, strong, alive, wealthy, healthy, vibrant, and happy. All of the pieces come together. So my business coach isn't going to give me a diet plan or an exercise plan, 2 different coaches. So that's why I'm an executive and I'm also a sales professional. So that's where 2 different business coaches.
Yeah, I mean, when I have a PhD, not your standard PhD. I call it personal human development. And so I always watch and observe and listen. And we're at Rotary, and I always am curious, because you ask great questions to our speakers. Where did that curiosity come from, and how long ago did you develop that curious appetite or mindset?
If you ask my family, I've always been annoying. Some people are just curious, and I am fascinated with everything in natural curiosity. When I meet people, especially during the interview process, people who are naturally curious are just, they're my people, because you're curious, Pete. That's why you do podcasts. Mm-hmm. When you're curious about people and what makes them tick and their lives, it's just, I can serve at a higher level. And I mean, God made me this way. And I developed the skills in asking better questions, because that's how you really get to know people. I don't want surface level relationships. I like having deep relationships and friendships with people, and people that are unlike me. We have just the best conversations because of that. But if you're not curious, you're never going to know.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
So let's take you back a few years. I always like when we talk about the development of a person, it's hard for people to like think of themselves as an investment. So they'll not believe that they're worthy of investing in themselves. How long ago in your journey did you start, like, the light bulb went off and you just started saying, you know what, I'm going to invest in Deborah? What you don't hire three coaches when you first start out.
It's a journey.
Working your way up. So what could you share with our viewers to help them understand that growth journey?
So I think that the main catalyst for most people is something that's pain. That's something that's very painful. Until a person has something painful happen in their lives, they don't have the level of motivation to dig deeper. It's not that I wasn't already a high energy, driven kind of person, but what happened for me was I had a business partnership. I had a small manufacturing company, and the business partnership failed. And it happened very suddenly and unexpected. And we were right on the cusp of like having huge momentum to get rolling. We were already into our second production line. It was a big, I had written the business plan and I knew where we were and I could see where we're going. And my partner and I parted ways. In that process, all of our corporate debt was called due at once. And I didn't know he was going the other direction. He had some personal things happen, and it hit me like a ton of bricks, and I was unprepared for it. And in the process of that realization, like everything in my life is at risk. I could lose it all. Like I was facing bankruptcy, and my family didn't deserve that. I didn't deserve it, but my family really didn't deserve it. Like how awful was that I put everything at risk, our home, our savings. So that's how I stepped into real estate. I had a moment with God, the ugly cry on the floor of your living room moment where I'm like, what am I going to do? And it was the catalyst for where I am today. So though I wouldn't wish a situation, that kind of pain on anybody, as I have grown and met other people who've been through a death, a divorce, a bankruptcy, a car accident, something that really rocked their world, those are the people who press in, and that which doesn't kill us makes us stronger. Mm. And that's what happened. So because I had a huge need, I paid off a lot of debt really fast, and I had to seek help from other people. So maybe prior to that, pride would have kept me from reaching out for coaches or help from anybody, or even admitting that I needed help. I wasn't in a place. Humility came on full force. I needed help. I reached out to some people smarter than I, and then I realized that, you know what? I'm already about to face bankruptcy. I might as well pay for a coach. And then things started happening.
Wow, that is good. I had a gentleman on my podcast a year or so ago, and he used a term called PTSG. And instead of PTSD, which we know that term, but growth, the G was growth. And he grew up in a concentration camp at age 5 in Russia. And so it's not your typical 5-year-old pre-K program, but it made him grow. And he went on to, when I looked at his background, because after the podcast said, how did you find this? And he goes, I have no idea. He said, I have some people that reach out. But what was impressive is, as he described that growth journey through trauma, through tragedy, through just that environment, it made them stronger. Do you like, okay, that major event? What other thing could you share with our viewers that made you stronger and better by going through it?
A happier story, other than the trauma story, was I discovered triathlon years ago, and this was before the probably helped that I knew what I was made of because of sports. So I wasn't like a D1 athlete or anything. I never had that opportunity. But I think sports and training helped me realize that we can do so much more. I'm a big fan of David Goggins.
Mm-hmm.
If for the people who don't listen to him because of the language, I say let the language go and listen to his message.
Totally.
Because I came upon triathlon as a sport at a time, it was a tough time in my life. I'd gotten divorced and I was running and I was bored with running. And so I had a friend introduce me to it. The act of training for triathlon is not just one sport, but three, tri. So you're swimming, you're biking, and you're running in sequence for hours on end. But it wasn't the actual races, it was the training. It taught me that I'm much stronger than I ever could have known without going through that. And you push yourself because in race day conditions, the first race I did, that which didn't kill me made me stronger. Horrible. They should have canceled the race. The swim is the first leg. I'm swimming, and there are like white caps on Lake Lanier. If you know Lake Lanier, we're at Lanier Park, and it's horrible conditions. It should have been a wetsuit rated race. So I'm freezing cold. I'm choking. I'm dying. I'm like praying, God help me, just let me get through this.
Yeah.
I swear I will listen, I will obey, I will serve, all the things. So when you have that moment with God,
Yeah.
I got through the swim. I didn't know because I'd never done a race before. The majority of the people dropped out, but I finished. It wasn't a great time, of course, it was my first one, but I learned through that process that we all have more inside of us and that's David Goggins' message, why it resonates so well.
Yeah, I have his book on tape, and when you can't listen to him, you gotta put the noise, the language
So
off
I've heard
to
him
the side.
speak in person. He is so dynamic because it's so engaging and real because he is
Yes.
authentically himself. That
Yes.
wouldn't be my talk, but
Yeah,
you have to be authentic.
I totally agree. What would you? We know through the journey, and we have similar like things that have gone on. How do you challenge yourself? Because nothing, there's no growth in comfort. The comfort zone is the worst zone you ever want to be in. How do you challenge yourself on a regular basis to continue to grow?
Mm. So it's a good question because the other end of that is what's wrong with being content? Can you be content in all circumstances
Hmm.
and still have a growth mindset?
Yeah.
So from there, I have recently just gone through this whole deep dive in myself of, am I not content? Why am I driving and striving and pushing so hard? Because I am content, but it's deeper than that because I feel like we each of us are put on this planet with a mission, a purpose. God created each one of us with unique talents and strengths and gifts. And I feel like if you're not growing and pressing in and learning more, then are you really living your mission? Are you really living up to like what divine God created us for something? And who am I not reaching if I just sit back and binge watch Netflix and you know what I mean? Like it's just, I think
I totally know. I like to. I gave up sugar. I gave up social media. I gave up alcohol. I gave up so many things. And people say, well, that's got to be boring. But I gave up distractions so I could focus better. And the enjoyment of being aligned, of growing, of challenging yourself to stuff like you said, we don't know what we're capable of doing until we push in and stretch and grow. And it's wonderful when you are growing. And it's so easy to kind of go down that consumption path because the average person will watch 4 hours of TV. The average person watches is almost 2 hours of consumption of like TikTok and all that whole consumption, and it lulls you into it where we're born to create. And if we don't create, then we're not happiest with who we are. And it's kind of like that in the Bible, like burying the talents. If we bury those talents, that's not a good thing. So what do you do like on a like it's a very demanding industry or career.
Yes, it is.
How do you what outlets do you like to do to kind of have, I don't call balance, but what do you like to do that really excites you when you're not, out there in a very fast-paced industry?
Before I answer that, I want to go back to what you said about you gave up all these things to get to the next level. I think what I have discovered is I reframed, it's not what I give up, it's what I gain. I gain health without sugar. I gain better relationships without TV. Think about the amount of time, like you said, that social media and TV is keeping you. Someone could be sitting right beside you on the couch and you are not connected when you're focused on something else. So instead of thinking I gave up, it's I gain. I gain.
I like that. I
Health.
like that term. Yeah, I that totally is a better framing of a phrase.
Well, and I feel like by reframing it that way, we have the opportunity to reach more people who hear, oh, I have to give that up. I didn't give up alcohol, but I modified my behaviors with alcohol. So I gain early mornings when I pray and I read. If you're drinking at night, you excessively, or, more than a glass or two, you can't get up. So I gain more perfect mornings when my evening routine is dialed in without alcohol or heavy desserts. Mm-hmm. So there's that. And then back to the question, which was, what was the question?
Like there's always activities that challenge us, but
how do I relax?
Like relax. Like I'm just going to throw something out. Do you ride motorcycles?
I do. Yes. So it's funny because in real estate, everything we do is on our phone, mobile phone. I'm answering the phone, I'm texting, it's just a very mobile friendly industry. So riding motorcycles is the one place where no phones let out, no GP, it's not in my head, it's not in my face, and I can totally get away. And that is very good for my brain. I am 100% concentrated on the road, offensive driving, all of the things so for me, it's mental because I have to shut out all of the noise, all of the distractions. It's life or death when you're on a bike, especially in the mountains. North Georgia mountains are a beautiful place to ride, but they demand all of your attention.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. I know that my friends will go up to like Asheville and they'll go on trips, and they just love the just what you described. That was kind of what they were looking for because they're busy in what they do, and it's almost like not an out of body experience, but an experience
Like
that
there's no way to get away from the demands of like all the technology. I use the technology to the nth degree, but
Mhm,
there are times where you just really need separation. And I still enjoy swimming for the same reason. Um,
mhm.
just I can swim laps for hours because it's quiet. Now they make headphones for on the bike or in the water, but I will not buy any. I like that is my time to just
Good.
rest my brain. Yeah.
So let's go back to Rotary where we met. Like when you joined Rotary, did you know what you were getting into? And for the people that don't even know what it is, you describe it to the viewers from your eyes.
I didn't really know what it was. I was invited and got to know it, and I thought, wow, these people are really dynamic and special. So I went back and went back. I'm like, you know what? I kind of like this. And at the time, I was still very busy because, in addition to work, but I was with volunteering at youth group at church, and I have all these obligations that
Mhm.
I don't like the word obligation because I was voluntarily doing it, but what I found with Rotary was the energy of the people. And because it's not political or religious or business, like it's not like business networking, you're not promoting yourself. We are just a group of people who come together to do good service for our communities.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's fundraising, sometimes it's showing up to hand out food, whatever is needed. And what I found was the people who enjoy that are my people. So I found my tribe. And that is the best human, that's the best part about being human, is being connected with your tribe.
Yeah, that it is. As we wind down, I want two more questions. So, morning routines are sometimes people don't know what a morning routine is like until they hear it from somebody that's, you know, living life at a high level. What's your morning routine like that you could share with our viewers that they might be able to kind of get some insights?
So this comes up frequently when I coach agents in my company. The morning routine is going to be the key differentiator between a high performer and not. And it's not about what time you get up, because the morning routine actually starts the night before.
Hmm.
It's preparation for success the next day. So your evening routine looks like I actually have an alarm set on my phone, time to wind down, turn the electronics off, go
Hmm.
through your, if you take your vitamins, if you walk the dog, if you, whatever, wash your face, put on the expensive moisturizers, and your evening routine to make sure it's lights out with a good night's sleep. And any woman in her 50s knows how important a good night's sleep is.
Hmm.
It starts then. What that does is kickstart the next morning. So when I wake up in the morning, and I rarely even need an alarm clock anymore, but for a while I was a before 5 a.m.er. Now I'm a 6 a.m.er because that just works better for my body and my biorhythms.
Hmm.
But I do the same things every day, and that would be my morning meditation. I journal, I read, I pray. I eat, I do some movement. I don't necessarily hit the gym hard like I used to, but
Hmm.
there is movement, and then there is a healthy breakfast before I check email. Like, I think that's the key. If anyone's going to have a takeaway, don't
Hmm.
open your email until your morning routine is done.
Yeah, that makes it is, and I'm with you. It's that first part of the day, whatever you start, that you start it right because I've had a lot of people on my podcast, and I do ask that, and the ones that their first reaction is grab the phone, grab the email, you're just diving into other people's priorities, and then the day can go south real quick, or north or east, not north but east and west. So it being intentional about how you do the same thing. I do the same. I journal. I drink, I think, I journal, I plan, and then I implement. And it's the same thing over and over and over. And if you would have asked me about journaling, I never journaled growing up, never. And because being dyslexic, I would misspell about every other word. So it was painful for me to write. But once I started practicing it years ago, when I had a chance to kind of reset, I fell in love with it. And now I carry it with me anytime I'm out on the porch, whenever. I pull the journal out before I pull anything, and I just write, because I learned so much on every podcast, and I write it down, and it kind of from the mind. How long have you been journaling?
Probably 7 or 8 years now, maybe a little bit longer. And my journaling is a mess. It goes through cycles of
Mhm.
just a dump of words that is practically illegible to actually like books full of information. Um,
Mhm.
it's been a good journey. I rarely ever reread. In fact, I think I probably have book paid, like I just don't reread it, but it's the act of getting it out. It is part of the creative process for
Yes.
me. It's part of prayer, meditation, and journaling. They all go hand in hand for me. And I forgot, I do start the day with a glass of water. I learned that from David Goggins as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, when I stumbled on him a couple years ago, yeah, it's just when you see the kind of mindset that he approaches things, and you're right, he's so authentic that you
I
know
would
you,
never go do what he does,
yeah,
ever. It's not me. Like some of the other people, Pete and I have shared. We like the same authors, so
yeah,
I'm not like them. But what I do like about the morning routine, the I like that it's easy. I don't have to remember. And what my takeaway, this is like a Tony Robbins thing, was I'm proud of myself when I do the little things every day. So
mhm,
it's easy, like with New Year's resolutions, people start them and then they fall off. It's that's fascinating to me. What I taught myself was like before I go to bed at night, I'm like, I'm really proud. I took my vitamins, I did my exercise, I did. It's just a list of little tiny things, those little accomplishments. But when you take a moment to congratulate yourself and be like, I did it. Sounds dorky, but
no, it didn't.
it helps
You're
cement in your brain.
absolutely, absolutely. So I want to be respectful of your time. So Deborah, tell our viewers how can they get a hold of you?
Well, you can follow me, of course, on Instagram and all the socials, but the easiest way is to send me an email if you'd like to have a conversation, carry it further. But I'm present everywhere. The agency Atlanta, Inside Georgia Real Estate, and contact me
Awesome.
here. Come visit Rotary with us.
Yes, Thursday morning, bright and early. It will brighten up your morning. I can assure you of that because the energy is off the chain.
That's
Uh,
right.
so, our final question: what would be the one thing that you would want our viewers to take home from our time on this podcast?
It's how I sign off my radio program. Just go say hello to your neighbor.
Hmm.
That's
Uh,
it. Just share a little love. Say hello to your neighbor.
magic. That's so good. Magic in those connections. It's so good. Well, thanks you, Deborah. Appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to share with our viewers a
Thanks.
little bit about your journey. Thank you so